All right, we're here with House DFL Caucus Leader Paul Thissen. Welcome.
Thank you.
First off, congratulations on your new role as House Minority Leader.
Yeah, I'm very excited and honored.
Why did you seek that position?
Well, I think we have huge challenges in the state that we need to address, and I think I have some skills that will help our party move forward and our caucus move forward, be as proactive and helpful as possible, but also to hold the Republicans accountable. You know, they're governing now.
You talk about your skill set. What is it about Paul Thissen that is good for this position?
Well, I think a couple things. I mean, because of the gubernatorial race, I've been all over the state and in every district in the state, and I think that gives you a really good perspective on where Minnesota is and what Minnesota needs. I think an ability to connect with the members as well, that helps with that. I'm a really hard worker, and I don't think that people would question that, and there's going to be a lot of hard work ahead of us. I think I have good relationships with the Republicans, and I'm willing to engage with them on policy. So I think there's those variety of things are what people were looking for.
When you were out on your gubernatorial campaign and talking to all the folks across the state, what were you hearing?
Well, a lot of anxiety about the economy. I mean, that clearly was heavily on people's minds. Deep concerns about health care and lack of access to health care, particularly in greater Minnesota. And you know, a sense that we're not making the investments that we need to be making to make Minnesota the place we want it to be in 5 years. Partly because the economy's been so tough, and partly just because of some political decisions that have been made in recent years.
Yeah. Now, as the minority leader, what do you see as your role for the 2011-2012 biennium?
Well, I think the role of our caucus, and I see myself as being part of that caucus. You know, the Republicans are in charge now. They have to govern, and we're going to hold them accountable for governing and pointing out, you know, helping them move Minnesota forward when we can, and holding them accountable for the consequences of their decisions when we disagree with them.
Tony Surdich is the outgoing leader of your caucus. How do you differ from Tony, and will there be any changes that'll be really noticeable to the public?
So I think, well, first of all, I think Tony and Margaret did amazing work and did great service to the state. I think there'll be a lot of continuation in terms of what our values are as a party, in terms of what we're going to be focusing on, and trying to move forward on education and good health care and investing in infrastructure. You know, but our role now has changed. I mean, we're not governing. We are the loyal opposition, and I think so more than just a difference between me and Tony, I think it's a difference between what our role is as the majority party and our role as a minority party is going to change how we operate.
Paul Thissen, everybody knows you, you know, legislator, you've been here a number of years, an attorney by trade. What else do people need to know about Paul Thissen?
Well, my wife Karen and I have been married for 17 years now, and we have 3 kids. An 11-year-old daughter and 2 boys, 8 and 6. And I'm a huge Bruce Springsteen fan. That's something that that I'm very passionate about. That's something I love. You know, I think I'm just pretty much of a regular guy. I grew up in Bloomington in the suburbs, and went to school, you know, through Catholic schools, and went away, but always wanted to return here. So.
All-conference football player, I saw.
I was, yes.
And that was Holy Angels, was it?
Holy Angels, yeah.
Yeah. Are you ever going to see your family now that you're the leader of the caucus?
Yes. So, you know, we worked, my wife is really great about this, and the kids are understanding. I mean, it's nice that I live in Minneapolis, you know, so I can get back and forth pretty regularly, and we've been able to maintain a really good balance. Even through, you know, the gubernatorial campaign was pretty grueling. And so, but even during that, we were able to maintain a good balance, and that's going to be really important to me. And you know, the good thing is that both Karen, my wife, and the kids too, they kind of, to greater or lesser extent, enjoy the politics stuff. So they participate in that.
So you got the door knockers down and everything like that,
right.
all your parade marchers, and
yeah.
Election night rolls around and the DFL goes into it, and you have a 40-seat lead. You come out of it on the short end. What happened?
No. Well, I think part of it was, you know, the national tide hit here, just like it did a lot of places. To me, though, what this election was really about was there's just so much anxiety out there about where our country and our state is headed and where the economy is headed. People are worried about, you know, their jobs. There were too many people, you know, when I was door knocking during the day who were at home because they had lost their jobs. I mean, so that's a real reality. to me, the message of this election also, because Mark Dayton, was elected governor, is that the people of Minnesota don't want an extreme agenda going in either direction, and they want us I think, to try to work together as far as possible. But I don't think you can take any particular mandate out of this election. I think it's just driven by people's anxiety and not quite knowing what to do.
You mentioned Mark Dayton, and as we sit here today, it's 3 days after the election, recount coming, but he'll probably be governor. It's a lot of votes for Tom to overcome.
Yes.
How does a Democrat governor work with a Republican Senate and Republican House now, when the roles have been reversed?
It's going to be interesting and challenging, and we're going to be working very carefully and closely with Mark Dayton to try to do what we can to move forward on the values and the agenda that we share. We will have differences with Governor-elect Dayton, but I think in general what we share is going to be a lot more than where we disagree. I think we've seen for the last 8 years the challenges that go along with divided government, and hopefully recognizing the crisis in our budget, recognizing the crisis that's continues to face the people of Minnesota in their own economies, people will find a way to come together to come up with a reasonable solution, and to have an honest discussion about revenues in this state. And Tom Bach made the point this morning, it's not just about taxes. There's other things that come out of people's pockets, like higher tuitions and higher healthcare premiums. That's as much money as taxes is money, and we need to acknowledge that that squeeze is going on, and how can we really fix it for the majority of Minnesotans.
How much does it hurt the state and your caucus? You lost some veteran members in this election. Lauren Solberg got beat, Al Junkie, Bernie Leader. How much does it hurt to lose guys like that with their knowledge and their smarts? And
yeah, it's going to be. We suffered some really difficult losses, and whether they were the veteran members, and you're absolutely right about the knowledge that those folks can bring to bear to help us, but it's also that they're really good people, and there's going to be a period of mourning that our caucus certainly is going to go through, because we lost friends who aren't coming back to join us this year, and who are immensely talented people. So it hurts, and it hurts institutionally, and it hurts personally. And we're going to make sure, and I don't think any of them are going to be necessarily going away. We'll be talking to them for advice and for their input and insights into how we move forward.
There might even be a role in the Dayton administration.
And there might be that.
For some of them. So you're a Minneapolis guy. Kurt Zellers, we presume, will be the speaker, another Metro guy. Does it hurt potentially to have two Metro guys in the top roles versus, for how do you work with Greater Minnesota?
I don't think so. One of the good things about our caucus is that we still, to this day, even after the election, represent every corner of the state of Minnesota. And one of my roles as the leader of this caucus is to make sure that we're standing up for every part of this state. And I would imagine that Kurt is viewing his role as the same way. The thing that I learned going around the state is that we do share a lot more in common than we differ, and there's going to be challenges in that regard. But we're going to be able to work through those, and I don't think either the leadership on the Republican side, or certainly our caucus, views our caucus as representing any one particular area, and I intend to honor that.
You and Kurt have always seemed like guys that are willing to take ideas from both sides and push them forward. Good, no matter, we don't care if it's an R or a D behind the name. How are you going to be able to keep doing that with Kurt and the Republicans?
Well, I do think that Kurt is going to be someone that is going to be open to some of our suggestions, because he's acted that way in the past, on committees and such. So I think, at the end of the day, we're going to try to be as productive as possible and put out ideas that we think work for the state of Minnesota. But they're running the show now, and so it's going to be in their court to kind of be open to our suggestions. And I think, we did set a model as when we were in the majority on certain things like the angel investor tax credit, where we did work in a bipartisan way for something that's good for Minnesota. And with the challenges we're facing, I anticipate that we're going to have to do more of that.
How do you tell the people of Minnesota that we're going to get through this? We're not going to have the gridlock that we've seen here for so many years. That DFL is going to be able to work with the Republicans, and it's not going to be the gotcha politics kind of thing.
So, well, I think my intent as leader is, you know, I don't think throwing bombs is the way that we're going to succeed as a state, and that's not ever been my style, and I don't think that's going to be how we're going to proceed. But I also think it's very fair, and that we're going to have to point out factually the consequences of some of the decisions that the Republicans are making. I mean, we're facing a $6+ billion deficit. They ran on a platform of raising no taxes, and you know, at least understanding the parts of the budget that I understand in detail, you know, there's going to be real pain in Minnesota if that's the final result of this budget. And I don't think that's what Minnesotans voted for on Tuesday night, and particularly because they elected Mark Dayton as governor. And so I hope that we can engage in a productive discussion about, you know, what kind of cuts should we make, but also how can we fill in on the revenue side in a fair and balanced way. And beyond that, we're going to be willing to offer up ideas about how we can do that. And you know, and if they have to change their position, we're not going to rub it in their face.
Now, you chaired the Health Policy Committee in this last biennium. How hard is it to step away from that and have to, you know, the 30,000-foot view of everything?
Yeah, no, that's going to be an interesting challenge. I mean, this all came up very fast, as you can imagine. You know, just today I was taking things out of my calendar that I would love to go to that, you know, were very much health policy oriented. You know, knowing myself, I'll keep a little bit of piece of that, but I also recognize I'm gonna have to be very disciplined. And I think the new challenges of this role and having a much broader perspective and learning about some new areas, I find that very exciting too.
2 years from now, everybody's going to be up for election once again. I mean, is that a positive you look at, that maybe you can come back and charge at that point, or is it too early to look that far ahead?
So, no, I mean, we're focused right now on getting the business of the state of Minnesota done, and we have a constitutional obligation to balance the budget, and that's what we have to do as elected state representatives. And I think our caucus understands that. You know, but we are going to be drawing contrast between what Republicans are doing and what Democrats would do if they're in charge. And you know, every election, the people of Minnesota get to decide what direction they want to go, and so in 2 years, you know, we'll see where that leads.
And how does redistricting going to fit into all this with that coming up? And now you've got, you know, the Republicans kind of in charge, and when these boundaries all get drawn, it always seems to go to one party or the other a little bit.
Right. Well, I mean, I think that is a concern. I do think people are not a concern. That's certainly something that we're going to have to get done. I would hope that we can work in a positive way to make sure that we draw fair boundaries, and that we respect the kind of unities that different communities have in this state around what their values are. And you know, Governor Dayton certainly is going to have a role in engaging in that as well, and we'll be working closely with him on that. You know, at the end of the day, I don't think the people of Minnesota on Tuesday, or you know, kind of in the past, voted for political gamesmanship and kind of power plays, and that's certainly what I view the election as about. And I don't think that I hope the Republicans view it that way as well.
Well, as we wrap things up, I'd like to give you the opportunity to anything else that you would like to address.
No, well, I'm again really thrilled and honored and really humbled to be in this position. It's going to be you know, hugely challenging with what we're facing in this state, but I'm willing to roll up my sleeves and get the work done, and I know that my caucus is willing to do the same, and we're ready to help in any way that we can.
Representative Paul Thissen, new leader, House DFL Caucus.
Yeah,
Thanks for joining us, and congrats.
Thank you very much.